All right, we are going to put a new mount on the URSA 12K. It currently has a PL mount, which is what it will come with when you buy it. And we have purchased a EF mount. So here's what you're going to need. You're going to need your camera. You're going to need the EF mount and a torque wrench. In this case, it needs to be capable of doing 0.45 Newton meters of torque, which this one does. It's a URSA, and we'll put a link to the exact wrench and bits that we got. I guess the third thing you'll need is this bit, which is, this is a 2mm hex wrench. So some people call them an Allen wrench or an Allen key. But we'll put a link to buy these bits as well, as it does not come with the torque wrench. If you don't have a torque wrench, honestly, I'd recommend you just get one. It's really nice to know you're getting the exact amount of torque. Our torque wrench is set to the correct setting, and I'm going to remove the front cap of this PL mount by holding the cap and turning the PL mount, these two clips here, which is a little different than what you're used to if you were used to an EF mount. You can see the 4 screws, but there's actually 5 screws. One is hidden. You have to turn your mount, and do you see it right there? They'll reveal the 5th screw. So you have to loosen some and then move it in order to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and start unscrewing. And all the screws are loose and the mount is out. I'm going to set that aside. I'm also going to set the 5 screws aside. We will not need those. We're going to store them away in case we need to put that mount back on. Now you'll notice that right here are some shims. And the one on the front happens to be the 0.1mm shim. The marking is here. When going from PL mount to EF mount, you actually want to remove that shim and leave the other 2 shims, which will be a 0.5mm and a plastic shim, which is basically no millimeters, but it's back there for protection. So all you have to do is just slide it out. There's the shim. All right, my next step is on the bottom of your shim case is a tool right here. This is for taking out the PL mount baffle. So the wider side, which is here, you'll see 2 slots, just like that, and you slip it into the slots and you start twisting, and that's going to very easily pull out the baffle. I'm going to twist till it's loose. It is loose. All right, now we can pull out our new EF mount, which is here. And then we'll need this bag of screws. There's a lot of extra screws. I'm going to pull out 4 screws to use here. On the EF mount, there is a baffle, but it's already installed in the mount, so you don't need the tool, and it's just already there. You don't need to mess with it. These screws are shorter than the screws for the PL mount. I have those here. I have my mount. If you look at the notch on the right side and match it up with the notch on the camera, you can simply slide that in place. And on this mount, there are 4 screw holes, and they're very visible. So you can start by very loosely placing your 4 screws. So I'm going to start using my torque wrench, and I'm going to tighten one down until I get just to barely get resistance, and I'm going to stop and cross diagonal to the other one across from it and do the same thing. I'm not going to tighten down at all yet. And then I'm going to cross over to this screw, do the same thing, and then I'm going to cross over. We want to get this, make sure it's all set correctly and we're not cross-threading or putting extra tension where we don't need it. So now on this one, I'm going to tighten down a little bit, tighten until I hit the torque. Oh, I did already. So When you hit the torque setting of this wrench, you'll hear it click, just like I just did. So I'm gonna do that on this screw now. I'm gonna twist till it clicks, and go across, twist till it clicks, go across, and clicks. You could keep doing that as much as you want, and it's not going to actually tighten the screw because you're using a torque wrench. So the mount is now installed. I'm going to take my EF mount body cap, line up the red dot with the red dot, and it is on.